Hey, how y'all doing? It's Well Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book, and we're here for a book review. And today we are going to talk about Psychros by Charlene Elsby. I really like Charlene's style. It's my second read, having done Hexus and now Psychros. Very similar. A lot of similarities between the two books. Both center around a main female character. Both are very somewhat conversational with the reader. A lot of like internal dialogue, reflection, thought about what is going on around them. And this one, there's like this mathematical element to it, like when this character is going out to attack someone, she's thinking about angles and math and all these things of how she could of the leverage and the physics involved in her getting the upper hand. And this one here is more, it's like philosophical and stuff like that. In this book, now I think I gave Hexus 4 stars. I'm about the same on this one, although I do like Psychros a little bit more. So we're going to say 4 stars. But the synopsis on this one: a woman's lover commits suicide. Why does everyone expect her to grieve? What if he wasn't one of the good ones? Was his suicide another cruelty? Her grief and rage are expressed through increasingly violent sexual encounters with strangers, acquaintances, and past lovers. How many deaths does he deserve, and why did he love death more than her? So her lover kills himself, and her way of dealing with it is to have a bunch of sex and to do a bunch of murder, basically. And so it's exciting, but really for me, it's got a lot of really cool, like, dark humor. Again, those internal dialogue pieces, those reflective pieces. I love that stuff. The way that Charlene writes some of these passages, the prose, those were definitely my favorite parts. I loved the story, but I really dug the writing. So Kirkus Review says it's an absorbing, twisted tale of psychosis, murder, and grief. So, since some of my favorite stuff is just the prose, I'm going to read a couple passages to you so you get an idea of how Charlene writes, but it's just really good shit. So, we're talking about types here, and how people have a type, right? Like, have a type of woman, or a woman has a particular type of man that they're attracted to. So she's with this guy named Jeff, and he's tall. Of course, if we're all being honest with ourselves, the only people who have types are people who don't care about other people at all. You can't decide in advance what people are going to be for you. It's not fair to them. Whatever they're going to be is already what they are in advance, which isn't how people or the universe works. So you might as well just not have a type and go kill yourself. Is what I was thinking about all of these types in the room just now. You might as well all go kill yourselves, for all I give a fuck. Except for Jeff. He's tall. His life is worth living. You'd like him. You can look at how tall he is for hours. You can build a life around how tall Jeff is. Just look at Jeff go. It's an infinity of fun times. That height of Jeff's. At least 2 inches taller than the average person. I'd say, if not 4. Holy fuck. I thought, just look at him go. He's fucking magnificent. Just check out the sheer inches of him. He's slightly taller than some other folks. He is. Holy fucking Christ, was Jeff my type? Just some funny shit in here like that. But also some serious shit. We got to deal with this suicide, right? We got to talk about it. It talked about this one. I've got being easy to kill. Let me see. I want to see if I can get this one right. So she's talking about it would be easy to kill him. There are so many dead people around. What was one more? I thought I could take the largest kitchen knife. It was always the largest one, wasn't it? And I could cut him. Insert the blade sharp side down in the throat, just in that soft spot there. Then I could drag it down all the way to his genitals, his cock, dick, penis, fuck rod, or whatever you want to call it. None of those names are impervious to the knife. No matter what you call it, it's not impervious to the knife. And then there is a part here about the table. So she has decided she is going to be with this man sexually. And she's looking around, and the table wasn't sturdy enough. Fucking on it would make me seem heavy, and I didn't want to seem heavy. The counter was too tall. Jeff would have to stand there on his tiptoes while I laughed at him, and that wouldn't be fun for anyone. The floor was hard and demeaning. Down the hall, I told him, and he went. The coffee, there's a part in here about Jeff making coffee. It says it's on, Jeff said. It says the timer is set. I corrected him. The timer is set. Why is the timer set for after you're up? Good question, Jeff. Good question. It's aspirational. It's set for the time I'd like to be up. If I failed to sleep in by getting up early, I'd like to double up on my punishment by not having the coffee ready. There's a couple more I want to do. Some really good ones. There's a bit in here about the glass. She's outside of her room looking in at her bedroom, and she realizes that her lover that has killed himself left a glass under the bed. He fucking left it there. He fucking left it under the bed instead of putting it away in the kitchen. He leaned over, put it under the bed, and then just fucking left it there for someone, me, to get around to picking up later. Then he fucking killed himself without ever picking it up, as if killing yourself were an excuse to offload all of your fucking dirty glasses wherever you fucking wanted. I'm too suicidal to think about doing my own dishes. He was probably thinking to himself as he slipped the glass as silently as possible over the laminate floors, meant to look like wood. I'm experiencing too heavy an emotional burden to possibly deal with putting this glass away in the kitchen, he surmised to himself, never considering for one fucking second that it was I, and I alone, who would be picking up after him still, as a corpse. Never mind the corpse itself. It was just like him to absolve himself of existing along with others. Fuck him. Non-existence. Okay, so now we're getting into this deep suicide question, right? The grand philosophical question is whether suicide makes a choice of death. And the answer is yes. Every action is motivated by some end. And the end in this case is non-existent. But just because the choice is toward non-existence, that does not mean that the choice was not toward some end. He looked at his options and decided that non-existence would be preferable. He was conscientious, convinced, and carried out definite actions to work toward a purpose of purposelessness. He was not forced to put the gun to his head. That's how they always try to frame it. The void didn't twist his arms toward his face and pull the trigger. He wanted to, because he favored non-existence, nothingness, the void, and because he was motivated, because he had nothing to work toward. He acted. Act being the key word here. He didn't pass into death like some old person whose heart finally gave out under the strain of the weight of existence. He acted himself to death. I think there's one more. Maybe not. There might be more than one more. I just marked this part. Ha ha ha. I don't want to read this really. It's talking about talks about she's getting with this guy, and he doesn't want to start the situation fully excited, but he doesn't want to start the situation unfully excited. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere medium. What I found initially was a medium dick, a virtuous means of dicks existing between the over-enthusiastic and the unmetaphorically flaccid. Oh man, future. This part's about future. Again, it's really more of a deep look at the suicide thing, which I'm sorry if I'm already wearing you out with these, but these paragraphs are just so awesome. He killed himself not because he couldn't imagine the future, but because he could. He killed himself because he had gotten all of the ideas about the future being different from the now. He killed himself because he recognized that all past moments were once futures that had become disappointments. I like that part. He killed himself because he recognized that all past moments were once futures that had become disappointments. He killed himself because he couldn't imagine the future in the abstract any longer. He saw it as something he would have to live through, and he killed himself because he didn't want to. It takes time to get to the point where you can imagine what time will be like instead of the events meant to punctuate it. It takes a while to become too familiar with the passage of time. He killed himself because he could see into the future, because he could see it for what it would be. Abstract time is so much easier. He killed himself because he knew that tomorrow would be another day. He knew it because of all the tomorrows that have come and gone, and because there was nothing about the future that made it shinier than now. Okay, I got to talk. Why is it always my life that's not worth living? Why do men take their pain out on other people and women on themselves? Why do men take their shit out on other people, but women take it out on themselves? Dig that. There's one more part here. So, oh, God. Yeah, this is about cutting him. So this is the violence of the book. This will give you a good example of the violence of the book. What a male thing to do, to just decide he could pronounce judgment on even the smallest of my emotions. He didn't have a right to like it. He shouldn't have the option. Things like this should just happen to him, and he should get used to it. He should come to recognize it as inevitable, and he should learn to tell himself he likes it just to make the cognitive dissonance go away. He should have to grow accustomed to things he did not like, just like everyone else, but he didn't have time. I would have to save my lessons for someone else. Sam didn't have time to form habits. My right hand cut him. My right hand cut him again. My right hand cut him again and again. And this part, another great part about men killing more. They tell us that men kill women because men are the stronger ones, but that's on average. Whether someone kills or not does not depend on their size. Humanity has never gotten by on its size, and the few inches between the average man and the average woman does not count for the disparity in how often one sex kills the other. We say that humanity gets by on its intelligence. This is how humanity itself dominates other species. If this were true within the species as well, then the smart would dominate and kill the stupid. Size doesn't matter. Men kill more because they were taught that their actions get results. Women die more because no one cares if someone dies whose actions never had any effect. Dig it. Told you. It's about the passages. It's about the paragraphs. It's a cool book. A book about, like it says right here on the front, psychosis, murder, and grief. I really liked it. I'm at 4 stars. Psychros by Charlene Elsby. I hope you check it out. I mean, if you're into a nice little human horror book, like I said, the murder, the violence, the grief and loss, and dealing with that, dealing with someone choosing death, choosing nothing, choosing the void over loving you. That's some fucking rough shit, isn't it? This is Well Read Beard. This has been my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.